Hello, lovely people. We are back, and it is once again the first of the month. And today I'm actually shooting this on the 1st of June, even though it's not going to release until the end of the first week because videos come out on Saturday on this channel. I like to say Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, but some days they get uploaded at like 2 p.m. So we try our best. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. This is my monthly progress check-in for our financial journey. I would say if you follow Dave Ramsey, you know that he has baby steps, and we are lightly doing a Ramsey-ish, okay? Because we do have a little bit more than $1,000 in our emergency fund, which by the way we'll get to. That definitely changed since last month. And we are on baby step 2, which you would count as 2, which is paying off all consumer debt except for all debt in general, except for our mortgage. Okay, so I'm super excited to get into this. As always, I moved the camera over so that you can see all the numbers right here next to me as I go through them. And I've got my iPad right next to you, so I am good to go. May 1st, I came in and let you know that we had $13,485.18 of debt left, which is huge. We'll get into what it was originally later. As of June 1st, we have cracked the 10,000 number, folks. We have dropped below 10,000, and we are now at, drumroll please, $9,901.53. This is so cool. I have some footage of Mike and I cutting our debt chain, and I will not forget how long that debt chain was originally. It spanned all the way around where I'm sitting right now in the dining room to this wall, and it actually came down past that picture almost to the light switches. So we've made a ton of progress in the last 8 months, and it's just been massive, and I'm so grateful for it. Praise God. So that's a grand total of $3,583.65 paid in the month of May, which is absolutely amazing. But when we get into the numbers, you'll see that technically we were in the red and some other things have changed. First, I like to go down the list and show you all of the debts listed out. Here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. I have a friend from high school that apparently I used to say, here's the deal, when I would have like a new scheme or a new idea. So here's the deal. We had 3 debts as of May 1st. One was a personal loan that had a interest rate of 8.99%. I think that's what it was. The other 2 were personal loans from family members. So they have no interest, and we owed 2 people in our family for helping us pay down our RV so we could consign it and sell it and get out of some of that debt. So I kind of like paid that balance off, the one that had interest, and then we had to make some repairs on my car that I just bought that's an older car, and I put that on a card that had no interest. So I kind of flip-flopped things so that this way it was like, okay, we now have no interest on this balance as well, especially since I'm not working. That's fantastic. I'm happy with it. I know it's just moving the debt over, but we have been making crazy progress, and now that I don't have a job and so that the amount we're paying down is going to slow down, I really thought it was important that that balance is somewhere where it's got like a promotional APR. So this is a 6-month no interest APR on a Firestone credit card. That is where almost all of that, like what's left that has interest, it's not going to have it for the next 6 months, which is great. However, I did make a boo-boo. I did purchase some things on Amazon. Gabby has a spending problem on Amazon. We've talked about it before. You know, if you've been here for a while, it's rough. And I have a remedy solution for that. We'll talk about it later on in the video, but I want to get through these numbers first. So you're going to see, once again, we have our Amazon credit card has a balance of $214.40. I know, I could pay that off tomorrow, and I probably will. I just wanted to come here and admit to you that this card is still an issue. And again, I'm going to take care of it. We're no longer just going to like leave it and because if it's open and active, I'm going to use it. And that's what I want to prevent for the coming months. I want to keep making progress. I don't want to keep regressing and progressing and, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's really frustrating. So Amazon card has that little $200 balance. Bing! Then we have our Firestone credit card. This is where that bigger balance that still has an interest rate, but now it's been pushed off for 6 months. As long as we pay this card off in the next 6 months, it's a 0% rate. Plan is to pay $500 a month to that card, pay it off in full by the end of the year. I don't intend on getting to, actually 6 months would be like November or October. I didn't even do that math. So definitely want to have that paid off before the end of the promotional rate. Why? if you're new to the finance world and you've got credit cards and you're trying to figure out how to balance things and you're thinking of doing like a promotional rate, be wary of the fine print. These places like Firestone love to do this 6-month interest free as long as you pay the full balance by the 6 months. But if you do not pay off that full balance, even if it's like $20 left on the card when you hit 6 months, they retroactively charge you the back charge of all the interest. Okay, so that's how they get you, is they entice you with this promotion and then they hope that you'll forget about it, or they hope you won't be able to make the payments, and then they retroactively charge back all of this interest that you were not supposed to have. A lot of, I think people do this, like furniture stores do this. I've seen Home Depot and Lowe's, like different companies. So just be wary of that. Those are the two, have some sort of interest going at some point. The other two loans we still have are going to be Loan A and Loan B, right? Family members, and those each have $3,500 left on them. We've put a pin in paying these until we've paid off everything else, because these are family loans and they're no interest, and my family members know that I am not working a 9 to 5 anymore, so we're just kind of putting a pin on that and saving it for later. That brings our grand total, as I said earlier, to $9,901.53. This is so massive. I need to take a look and step back, and here's what's really cool. I have a spreadsheet. Hopefully I can show it to you on the screen now. I have an Excel spreadsheet, or I guess a Google spreadsheet, that I've had for, years. You can see the progression of my debt, like 5, 6, 7 years back, because this is something that I've had a passion for and I've wanted to work on for a long time. And I have worked on it, and then I've regressed because I've let other people and the world, tell me it's okay to be in debt, or I've gotten jealous of somebody has something I want that they put on a credit card, and I'm like, well, I can do that too. And then I feel awful that I have these debts. I'm just wired this way, okay? Biblically, I know I'm not supposed to have debt and owe debt to somebody. I don't want a borrower, slave to the lender. I don't want to be in that position anymore. That's just now my firm belief and my husband's belief. So this tracker has been great for seeing progress and looking back on how far we've come. Just a reminder, we started this journey, actually said, okay, we're done at the end of September of last year. So September of 2025, my first video, I think I made it the last week of September. We had $79,804 in debt. So now looking at this new balance of $9,900, that's $70,000 cleared in 8 months. Psh. Of course, as well as I do, we didn't just pay it off, right? We sold things. We got drastic. Some people would say a little too drastic. And I do have a plan for shooting a video to talk about that, right? The things that we did that I think an average person trying to pay off debt would not do, but we just had a fire under our butts, it's time. And I definitely went almost full-scale Ramsey. And I think this month might be the month we do go full-scale Ramsey. When I say that, I think we are going to drain our savings to just $1,000 and pay down some more of this just to get it off of our plates so that we can live and breathe a little bit better. But yeah, $70,000 cleared in 8 months. I'm really proud of that and really happy with that. Okay, here is where, when I said earlier that we were technically in the red, here's where we are, right? Savings last month. We had $7,500 in our savings. We had a plan for the savings. There was a reason we were saving. And then we took a look at it and went, look, we owe this money. We're really just going to have to pay it off. We gotta just use it, right? Just use it, pay it off, and then we'll move on to the next step. This is why the Ramsey method works. Because you're not focused on 17 things at once, right? They're like, hey, get a little emergency fund. Okay, hey, now you're going to plow through your debt. Okay, hey, now you're going to build an emergency fund so you don't ever have to go back in debt like that again. Okay, oh, now you're going to focus on your retirement and actually start contributing because you have that extra money that you were using to debt and savings now available monthly. There's a reason why the plan works and why they're so popular and just why it's successful for millions of people. All of that being said, last month our savings was $7,500. And now as of today, June 1st, when I'm shooting this, the balance is $2,901.82. That means we dipped into $4,598.18 of this. Okay? If you do the math, right, that's $4,500 used, and we only paid off $3,500 and change, right? So we're technically $1,000 $114.53 in the red. What do I mean by in the red? I mean, we spent over what we brought in. So the question then becomes, where did that go? And that's what I want to get into next. The first thing we had was we bought a vehicle for my father-in-law last fall, and we finally got around to actually titling it in our names and registering it in our names. And so we had to go to the DMV to register the Prius and, pay the registration and taxes and insurance for that, right, for that car. We did already have insurance on it, but we had to go provide everything to the DMV. And then I also purchased a vehicle from my friend Lena down in Florida that I drove back from Florida. So again, that one also had to be registered in New York, taxes paid on it, inspection done. And the Prius passed inspection with no issue. The Hyundai ended up just needing 2 light bulbs, right? So that's a little bit of money. And then the Prius had needed an oil change. So these are all things that normally wouldn't happen every single month. The oil changes, obviously, you have to do it every 5,000 miles. But registration, right? Inspection is annual. The taxes on the vehicle is just a one-time thing. So that was a little bit of the expenses. Next thing was the dog's medication. I'm going to talk about it later in the video, how we're going to take care of this from now on. But because these are not like monthly expenses, sometimes they surprise us. We do the budget monthly without taking a look at the quarterly and the annual stuff that also needs to be taken care of. So I think that's something to be said for you if you're starting out new and you're just creating a budget. Do not forget about these kind of expenses. Dog medication. We have to buy them Simparica Trio every 3 months, or every 6 months we get a supply from the vet. That has to be taken into account. It's like over $200, for 6 tablets. I'm looking down at them because they're deciding to fight right next to me right now. So if you hear a little noise in the background, they're just goofing off. Knock it off. We're in the middle of a video. Okay. Next is gardening stuff. So we did start a garden, and my father-in-law and my husband and I had talked about it for a couple weeks. It was really weird weather here in New York, so it took a while to actually get it together. My father-in-law had paid for a lot. Soil and fertilizer, and he bought like really nice planters so that the garden is off the ground and the dogs don't chew on it. Hey, you're knocking the table here, girly. I wanted to give you a new scene, a change of scenery, like show you my little library and things. I did not expect them to be like playing around right there. Sorry about that. Anyway, he paid for a lot of the gardening stuff. So when we actually went to the greenhouse to pick up all the plants to get started, we picked up a bunch of flowers for him too, because he wanted to decorate his garden. He's got a beautiful garden on his own without our vegetables as well. So we ended up paying for that. It was like close to $150 for all of the vegetables and the herbs that we bought, and then a bunch of flowers for him. And we were like, don't worry about paying us back. You already invested all this other money in this other stuff. So there was that added expense that was not unexpected, but like a one-time thing, because now for the rest of the season, we should be good. I did decide to go ahead and expand my business from just helping content creators to actually like creatively producing things you can buy online, right? And so I'm still doing some, deep dive into what exactly I want to carry, but I purchased a Cricut machine, again, used on Facebook Marketplace to save money. I purchased a laminator. I was thinking about creating prayer cards where I design like the artwork for them, and they're like little pocket-sized ones you can carry around, things like that. So what I did was I ended up transferring a couple $100 from our account into my business account so that I could have those funds ready for the monthly expenses for different things and then to purchase these items. I like to keep those transactions separate for business reasons, but obviously there's no income from the business right now, so that money just comes straight from our monthly income. And the last thing that really screwed us over, which I was not expecting, was health insurance. Okay. This is a big topic. I don't want to really get into it too much. It's very volatile, and I don't even know how to feel at this point. But basically, I left my job, okay, and of course I needed health insurance. And first thing I did was go on this New York State website for, Department of Health and I spoke to a broker, and pretty much it was like, hey, if you never make another dollar for the rest of the year, the state will give you, they will help you out with some credit towards health insurance, but it's still $450 a month. And then and that's for HMO, which means I can only go to Home Network. And if I'm out of town or I want to use another provider, then I have to pay out of pocket anyway. And then they said, if you make any money, which obviously, this is a business, I'm trying to make money. If you're new here, ODAAT Creative is my new media company. I'm trying to produce an income here, right? If you make any money at all, then you don't qualify for the credit, and now it's like $615 a month for health insurance. What? Like, that's crazy. And I know how it is, okay? I've heard this sob story before, and I don't want to get into it because this is not what the video's about, okay? But that cost was astronomical standalone, right? $450 seems like a lot. $615 is astronomical for someone who's fairly healthy, right? Praise God. That being said, my husband works for the state of New York, and the plan was to get on his insurance at the end of the year. He obviously did not register me for insurance this year because at the beginning of the year, I had a job within health insurance. And then he's a veteran, a disabled veteran. He has like a certain percentage disability, so he's qualified under the VA for health insurance through them. I don't even know how it really all works, but he didn't need it from his job. So now we have to wait a couple months to be able to register under him, and I don't even know how much it's going to cost on his insurance. All that to say that the health insurance was another cost I was not expecting. And then even worse, I went to set up auto pay. So I made my first payment of $450 on like the 5th of May because they were like, hey, you're overdue, right? We're going to start you on the 1st. You have to pay it. They mailed me stuff. I think I did a short about it, like talking about how they basically were like, you're going to get stuff in the mail so you can pay. And then they emailed me like, you're overdue. And I was like, I haven't gotten the stuff in the mail, guys. What are you getting mad at me for not paying a bill that you haven't even sent me yet? So I paid that. A week later, I'm like, let me set up auto pay. I set up auto pay and it automatically drafted the next month's payment. So now they took $900 from me in 1 month. And I was like, I'm sorry. And I called them and said, hey, I just want to confirm this did not process because I don't see it coming out of my bank account. I can't find the receipt online anymore. It was very confusing. Long or the short, the lady's like, oh, no, you won't be charged until the end of the month. Nope. The next day, that $450 came out of our bank account. So $900 from last month went to the health insurance. So actually, technically, we were fine, right? This in the red part is like stuff that makes sense. Looking ahead to June, because I always love to do this and give you guys kind of a clear picture of what's to come. And I also want to have a plan so that I'm not looking back at the end of June going, oh, we were in the red again, and now I'm starting to get concerned. First thing's going to be our groceries. We did go over by a couple $100. I spoke to Mike about it. We are going to try harder to clear our freezer and make pantry-based meals. Over the course of, the last year, I have bought like boxes of dried pasta and jars of sauce that were on sale and different things in the cabinet that has not been used. We also have a freezer full of stuff. I mean, there's like a lot of veggie stock that I could use and make soup. There's veggie scraps because that's what we're using to make our stock. There's a bunch of chicken because I had bought these two huge packs of chicken at Aldi's. They were on clearance. Just a lot of groceries we could eat out of our own home that doesn't require me to go spend $150 a week on groceries out. So the plan is to try really hard to make a lot of pantry and fridge and freezer based meals and basically eat what we have out of the house before we continue to stockpile. Again, we're back to quitting purchases on credit cards, and I have to close all the lines of credit that are not being used. We have TJ Maxx credit cards that we don't use. We have a Kohl's credit card that I barely use. I have a United card that I was using for work that I don't need to use anymore. Like, there's so many lines of credit right now that are just open and empty. I need to make an effort this month to go in and close them. Especially the Amazon credit card. I just can't do it anymore. I really applaud them. They do a great job with like the 6% cash back on every purchase. And then I always go and get excited when I can click like, oh yeah, use my points towards this next purchase. It's really like, it's like gambling. Like, it's like a slot machine. You're like, oh yeah, I get more. I get discounts. I get savings. I'm going to spend more. I just need to close it. I need to do that. The United credit card I was using for work to rack up points, because they reimbursed me for meal expenses and things like that. That card had like close to 50,000 miles on it. And I know what they're going to do when I try to close it is be like, well, you have unused miles. So I did start to redeem those miles for gift cards. I got a $50 gift card to TJ Maxx. Come on. Give myself a little bit something. And I just redeemed a $50 or $60 gift card to Walmart, which we can use towards groceries and daily spending. And then I can get one more, I don't know what I'm going to get, maybe just another grocery one. They do have Hannaford and stuff like that, but you can redeem the mileage towards gift cards you'll actually use for daily items. So I do want to take care of that before I close it. We did also decide to pause our Roth contributions for a couple months. Again, going back to, I think I finally want to just go full on Ramsey. What we were contributing $300, so $150 each monthly. It wasn't that much, but it was also, we have also been speaking to our advisor about moving. We had some old retirement accounts in Fidelity from different jobs, including the job I just left. And we had her roll those over into our retirement, into, what is it? Not traditional, but Roth IRAs, because Roth is post-tax. So Roth, you pay tax first, then you contribute, and then it grows tax-free. And like you've already paid taxes on it. 401k traditional from work is pre-tax, it goes in, it grows, but then when you take it out, you have to pay taxes. So there is a limit on how much you can contribute annually to a Roth. I think it's like $6,000 or $7,000. I don't know. But we just pause it for a couple months. We'll take care of that in the fall. We'll get back to contributing. I just want to focus on one thing at a time, and the biggest thing is getting rid of this final debt, which is so exciting and so relieving. A couple more points and then I'm done, I promise. Sorry, this one's a little bit longer this month. Separating money for bills from weekly spending money to prevent us from overspending. Daily spending and then the bills, I'd like to split again. A couple years back, and I think I did a video ages ago about this, creating different bank accounts to make it easier. I'll probably do another video on it soon because it's a really great idea. Splitting the money immediately from day one. So like if you have direct depositing a separate amount into your savings to automatically save money. We're going to do that with our rental and with our daily spending. So I spoke to Mike. We opened a Capital One 360 checking account, and the plan is to use the Capital One account for our daily spending, so groceries, gas, that kind of thing. I'm going to move $150 a week from our Chase account, which is our bills account for New York, like where rent comes out of, that kind of thing. And we're going to move the money over to Capital One and use a different debit card for the daily spending. This way it's like, okay, you want something from the vending machine or the gas station, you want to go to the grocery store, you want to get gas, that's the money we have for the week and that's it. Versus seeing this bigger pile of money and being like, oh, it looks like we have $4,000 in our account, but $1,500's for rent and the other $2,500's for the other mortgage. Like the money's already accounted for, but you can't really tell unless you're looking at the budget. So we've got my personal Chase account, which is now the money for the rental property in Florida. We have our joint Chase account, which is now going to be for our bills for this New York apartment, anything related to like electric, gas, that kind of stuff, internet, insurance even. And then we're going to have this Capital One checking, which apparently has no fees, and that's what I wanted. And also, apparently the 360 checking, they had a promotion right now. You could do spend like $20. I don't know. It's like use your card 20 times in the next 50 days, and you get $250 free. Not a bad gig. So that's what we're going to do moving forward is separate everything again so that it's a little more organized. It's just what I prefer. Might not work for everybody, but it works for us. Last thing that I think is super important to touch on is creating funds. On every dollar, you can create a fund. And what that means is you set a target amount you want to save, and then you say, okay, I'm going to contribute $50 to this fund every month. And that money starts accruing in your bank account, and it tells you month after month how much money you have. We were already doing this for Christmas. I've done it since January, and we have, I think, $250 to $300 in that account already because every month I just save $50 so that at the end of the year, when you need that annual money, we have $800, $1,000 saved for Christmas, and it's not like, oh my gosh, this expense came out of nowhere. I also had one for the dog, the vet, and the dog's meds. And now I've just made that one fund, and we're going to just put that, hey, $50, $100 every single month because they only go to the vet like once a year for their shots, and then they get their meds every couple months. So again, another fund. The third one is a vehicle fund. So windshield wipers, washer fluid, oil changes, filters, all that maintenance stuff that again pops up out of nowhere. It doesn't pop up out of nowhere. We know that it's coming. So we created a fund for that one. So I think that's really going to help us manage those quarterly and annual expenses. And I would highly recommend EveryDollar. Again, not sponsored, but it's a great app because it allows you to control what comes into your bank account. You can like move it over into the categories and see if you're overspending, if you have extra money left at the end of the month. It's just a great way to track everything so that you feel like you're on top of it and you're not scrambling at the end of the month going, why do I have more month than money in my account? And with that, I am all finished, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I just want to say I'm so happy to be here and share this journey with you. It's been super interesting. It's been challenging and fun. I hope it's, inspiring some of you to go on your own financial journey and work on getting debt-free and creating a savings account. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. Everybody have a blessed week, and I'll see you next Saturday.